Greetings, children. This is the second page of Lost Spring. This is for class 12 CBSE students. Look at here. This is page second. If I start a school, will you come? I ask, half joking. Here, the author asks Sahib, is he ready to attend a school if she starts one? She asked this question half jokingly. Half jokingly means half seriously. Partially it is a joke and partially it is serious. That is half jokingly. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. This boy, when he heard this question, he is so happy. He smiled happily or broadly and says he is ready. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? When they meet again after a few days, this Sahib runs to her and asks her, is her school ready? It takes longer to build a school, I say, embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. Actually, when this boy comes and asks her about whether her school is ready, she feels a little bit of embarrassment. Embarrassment means confusion and shame. Confusion and shame. Because she has made a promise that was not meant. That was not meant means that was not a serious promise. It was not going to happen. So she feels a little bit of embarrassment. And she could say only like this: it takes longer to build a school, which means that it requires a lot of investment and time to begin a school. So, why the author has been embraced at having made a promise that was not meant? Because she half jokingly asked the boy whether he is ready to join school if she has started one. And the boy said he is ready. And when they meet again after a few days, the first thing the boy asks her whether her school is ready or not. It is at this time she feels a little bit of embarrassment because she has given him a false promise. But promises like mine, abundant in every corner of his bleak world. Abundant here means in large number or greater quantity. Large number or greater quantity. Promises like the author. In every corner of his bleak world. Bleak here means the miserable world that can be seen. So she feels a kind of embarrassment for giving such a false promise to the child. Look at the next paragraph. After months of knowing him, after months of their acquaintance, friendship, I asked him his name, Sahib-e-Alam. This is his full name. The boy announces. Announces here means he says. He tells the author his name. That is Sahib-e-Alam. He does not know what it means. What is the meaning of this phrase Sahib-e-Alam? This boy does not know. If he knew its meaning is Lord of the universe, he would have a hard time believing it. If the boy knew the meaning of his name, he couldn't believe in it because the meaning of his name is he is the Lord of the universe. But the reality is that he is not a king of this universe. He doesn't have a gold crown over his head, but he is crouching for gold in the garbage tins. So he is only the Lord of the garbage, not the Lord of the universe. So he couldn't believe the meaning of his name. Unaware of what his name represents, he has no awareness about the meaning of his name. He roams the streets. Roams here means walks around. He walks around the streets with his friends. An army of barefoot boys. Barefoot here means naked foot. Naked foot boys. An army of barefoot boys who appear like morning birds. Look at the literary device of simile used here. The army of barefoot boys is compared with the morning birds. They appear in the morning and they disappear at noon. These rag-picking children, they don't have any footwears. They come barefooted. They appear in the streets of the city in the morning like birds and they disappear at noon. Over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. As time passes, they come to know each other. The author comes to know each one of the group. Why aren't you wearing chappals? I ask one. One day the author asks one of these children why he is not wearing chappals. He replies, "My mother did not bring them down from the shelf." He answers simply. His simple answer is this: his mother does not bring them down from the shelf. His mother does not give him the chappals to wear it. Whether this answer is satisfactory or not is not clear within the evidence of the story. One thing is clear, that these children do not have a shelf to keep things like this. So it may be a false reply. Even if she did, he will throw them off, adds another who is wearing shoes that do not match. When this boy replies like this, another boy retorts that even if his mother gave him the chappals, he would not wear it because he is more practiced to barefooted than wearing a pair of chappals. That is added by another boy, and who is wearing shoes that do not match. And this boy who is wearing a mismatched shoes, when I commented on it, he shuffles his feet. Shuffles here means he hides his feet one after another. When the author comments or asks him about why he is wearing mismatching shoes, he started shuffling his feet and says nothing. He remains silent. "I want shoes," says a third boy who has never owned a pair all his life. Then another boy, he tells the author that he wants a pair of shoes because he has never owned a pair in all his life. Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities on village roads. Then the writer gives us her experience. She has traveled throughout the country and she has seen children walking barefoot in cities as well as on the roads of villages. It is not lack of money but a tradition. To stay barefoot is one explanation. The reason for remaining barefoot is sometimes not lack of money, but it is a tradition. Tradition here means it is a custom, it is a practice of the people to stay barefoot. That is the one explanation. But the author here wonders, I wonder if this is only an excuse. But the writer here sees this only as an excuse to explain away perpetual state of poverty. To explain away means to bring down the gravity of the perpetual state of poverty. Perpetual here means the continuous, the permanent state of poverty. To bring down the gravity of the perpetual state of poverty, they excuse it as a custom. Because most of these barefoot children don't have enough money to buy grains for their belly. Then how could they buy the chappals? This is the grim reality with these children, the writer comments. Then the writer tells us a story. I remember a story. A man from Udupi once told me. Udupi is a district or a city in Karnataka. She tells us the story of a man from Udupi. As a young boy, he would go to school past an old temple. This man, when he was a boy, he would go to school past an old temple. Every day he go to school past an old temple where his father was a priest, and this temple had his father as the priest. He would stop briefly at the temple. En route to school, he stopped at the temple and prayed for a pair of shoes. Every day this boy went to the temple and prayed for a pair of shoes. Now, 30 years later, I visited his town and the temple. After 30 years, when the writer visited the town and the temple, which was now drowned in air of desolation. Drowned here means submerged or sank in air of desolation. Air of desolation. Desolation means loneliness. In the backyard where lived the new priest, there were red and white plastic chairs. When the author visited there after 30 years, she saw the new priest there and his house with white and red plastic chairs. A young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived panting and threw his school bag on a folding bed. Then she notices the young son of the new priest, who is wearing a grey uniform, socks and shoes. He arrived panting. Because of the little run he made, he was panting and threw his school bag on a folding bed. Then he threw his school bag, the backpack, on the folding bed. Looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer. When she notices the new boy coming back from school with his backpack and shoes, she remembers the prayer the another boy had made to the goddess when he had finally got a pair of shoes, let me never lose them. The first boy, the man from Udupi, when he got a pair of shoes, he prayed to God again, not let him lose those chapels. She remembers those prayers of the boy, the man from Udupi. The goddess had granted his prayer. Anyhow, she says here that the goddess had granted his prayer. He never let loose his chapels. Young boys like the son of the priest now wore shoes. Now, this class of people, the young boys like the son of the priest, wearing shoes. But many others like the rag pickers. Rag pickers means the people who collect the rags or the waste materials from the heap of dumps or litters, that is rag pickers. The rag pickers in her neighborhood remain shoeless. Even after many years of passing, no progress, no development has taken place with this class of people, the rag pickers. The other class, when 30 years ago, it was an unachievable thing for them. They prayed for a pair of chapels. But now, those people, the priest and his son, have the facility, the basic need. But many others, like these rag pickers, don't have this minimal basic requirement in their life. They remain shoeless without even the basic facility of life, even after many years of passing. No progressive development happen with these class of children. That is what the author reminds us here.